Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to imagine a situation for me. Just imagine you're getting late. You're waiting for the train to arrive. It's getting late. You're getting impatient. So you're looking at the watch again and again. And as you see, you're seeing the train arrive. You're seeing the train coming by. And as the train passes by, you feel as if you're getting pulled by the train. You feel as if you're getting attracted by the train. Now, why does that happen? What is the reason behind this, ladies and gentlemen? So before I tell you the science, the reason behind it, let me take you all to a story of mine back in school. So back in school, I was a complete nerd. You see, I loved cricket and football. But if there were 12 people eligible for selection and only 11 could play on the ground, I was the one who was left out. I was made the referee, guys. I couldn't play football and cricket. I was that bad. So I was into studies. Now I was a complete nerd. So one such instance, we had a history papers done. Now, I was kind of a nerd, so I was into this thing of, like academics thing. So once a history paper got over and the teacher comes in after some days, the teacher comes in, puts her bag, and I'm like, no, I'm the nerd. I'm sitting on the first bench. I'm like, hello, teacher. And teacher goes like, yes, you have a question? I'm like, teacher, have you checked the papers? And some boys at the back go like, it's all, so I told you I'm a nerd, right? And then the teacher says, yes. And then I'm like, teacher, are you going to show the papers today? Again, some boys at the back, they're like, I told you I'm a nerd, right? And then teacher says, yes. So teacher comes on, gives the papers, and I am very excited because history was my best paper. History was my go-to thing. It was that decider which was going to help me top in the class, like top 3, top 5, because history was my go-to subject. People were good in English, science, maths. My go-to subject was history. I was very confident. When I went for the history paper, this is how I studied it. Open the book, take everything in, Control C. Go to the paper, Control V, paste everything. Now that's how I did history. So I was very confident. So I walked to the teacher. I'm like, teacher gave me take the paper. I come back. I'm like, sometimes I'm looking at him with swag, right? So then I open the paper. It's folded. So I open it, and I'm like, and I go 39 marks. 39 marks. So I go to the teacher. I'm like, teacher, this is injustice. This is not possible. You can see the answers, but I just think so. It's exactly the same. And then the teacher's like, no, I'm not ready to listen. I'm like, no, teacher, this can't happen. The teacher explains to me, handwriting. Look at your handwriting. Your presentation is awful. And I'm like, teacher, how can you cut 1 full mark for it? Oh, I didn't tell you. I got 39 out of 40. So even then I was crying about it. I'm like, teacher, you can't do this. Because that girl, she got half marks more for presentation. This is not a presentation competition. You can't do that. And the teacher explains to me. But I am in no mood to listen. But when I look back, although entire credit goes to teacher because my handwriting. You see, if our professions were decided by our handwriting, there was only one profession which was suitable for me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is to be a doctor. My handwriting was that bad, and it still is very bad. So I then come back home and I into this upset mood, very bad mood. But then, ladies and gentlemen, when I look back at the example now, I understand this is what we do in certain instances of life. When there's something which goes wrong, we blame others. I don't have this vehicle because my parents are not rich. I'm not doing this because my friend circle, they're awful. I'm not able to do this because the region where I live, it's not good enough. And we start blaming others. Just like I started blaming the teacher. Instead of that, I should have looked at myself and told myself, Vanky, your handwriting is awful. You need to improve upon it. And that is the lesson I learned from that story. And that's the first thing I share with you. So then school got over. I had a very distinct life, very unique life. I got good grades, so I did science. And then after doing science, I got good grades again. So guess what I did? I did engineering, right? So then I do engineering. I'm a complete nerd, into studies again and again, and completely into studies. Coming back to studies, I have this engineering thing. Like some people, they try to they have this another perspective of engineering. Because you see, normally when people come into engineering, it's because someone's reference. Your seniors did engineering, therefore they tell you do engineering. Your friends are doing engineering, so you do engineering. So what happens is the senior, he did engineering because his friends told him so. Now he didn't like engineering, so he goes to engineering, he hates it. Then he takes that as a revenge and he tells you, well bro, engineering is awful. Engineering, mathematics, oh my god, it's so difficult. It's very difficult to pass in that examination. And you try to believe it. And you actually believe it. It's just like my mom gives me the example every time, that if you go to a doctor and the doctor tells you, and the doctor tells the patient, well my patient, you're going to die. No matter what technology, science you apply, ladies and gentlemen, that patient has believed that he is going to die. No medicine can work on him. The reason being the doctor. He put such a negative perspective in his mind that the patient's perspective can't be changed. This is what I believe when engineering happens. Like for example, just ask an engineer, normal, like what is Bernoulli's theorem? The definition would typically like this, something about this, okay? The sum of velocity energy and pressure energy is constant. When you decrease the velocity energy, the pressure energy increases. When you increase the velocity energy, the pressure energy decreases. It is also numerically given as Z1 plus P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2G is equal to Z2 plus P2 by gamma plus V2 square by 2G, where Z1 and Z2 are the level heads, V1 and V2 are the velocity heads. G is the gravitational constant 9.81 meter per second square, and P1 is the P1 and P2 are the pressure at that point, and gamma is the weight density of water, that is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. I'm like, bro, how should you share that example? You should say something like this. You're getting late, you're waiting for the train to arrive, you're getting impatient, so you look at your watch, and as the train passes by, you feel as if you're getting pulled by the train, you feel as if you're getting attracted towards the train. This is the Bernoulli's theorem. Let me explain how. When the train passes by, there's air around it. Now that layer of air near the train moves with the train. So it's moving at high speed, high velocity. Therefore, Bernoulli's theorem says high velocity is low pressure. But the air behind me, the air behind us, it's stagnant, man. It's relaxing. It's chilling. It's stagnant. It's at zero velocity. Therefore, the pressure is high. You see, there's a pressure difference. High pressure region, low pressure region. This forces me to get attracted towards a train. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Bernoulli's theorem. How different. Thank you. Thank you for your kind gesture. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bernoulli's theorem. I mean, then sometimes people go like, well, boys aren't interested, girls are sincere, but boys, like there has to be a thing to teach boys, right? Like just imagine a professor goes in and people like, boys don't like maths, boys don't like, they're not studious. Just imagine a professor goes in, all the boys are doing something and the professor goes in like, today boys, the class is only filled of boys, right? So the professor goes, well, today I'm going to teach you how to impress girls by using trigonometry. Suddenly, all the boys sitting at the last bench watching movies, they're like, put the smartphone off, man. Let's hear what this guy is saying. And he's like, yeah, let's watch it. And just imagine, right? You go and you're going to impress a girl, right? So you hold the girl's hand and you're like, when you're explaining trigonometry, right? You're using trigonometry because you're a nerd, right? I'm a nerd, right? So I'm going to give you nerdy examples. So you go, you hold the girl's hand and you're like, hey girl, I would like to be your sine theta. Just say how romantic these words are, right? Hey girl, I would like to be your sine theta. Would you like to be my cosine theta? And then you close your eyes. You're like, I know. Sometimes we may fight. Sometimes we may have a quarrel. Sometimes we may get all squared up. We may be ready to fight. But don't worry. When we are all squared up, I will be sine square theta. You will be cos square theta. And when we add up, we will be as one. And then the boy comes out of his emotions. He looks at the girl in a dramatic fashion, in a slow motion. But in this moment, in this drama, where I forgot the time, the girl's boyfriend arrives. And he's like, now see, my romantic proposal is so romantic. It's so engineering. Now even the guy, the boyfriend who is an engineer, gets into this engineering mood, right? So he's like, hey boy, be in your limits. Don't break the continuity going around here, right? Be in your limits. Don't go off your limits, because if you go off your limits, I'm going to differentiate you into bits and then integrate you by parts. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I walk away. Because you see, I told you, I am a nerd. And you don't take advice on how to impress a girl from a nerd, right? So I come back home. And this is how, ladies and gentlemen, you should be teaching trigonometry to students. I mean, everything, right? Like, this can be such a different perspective. Thank you. I mean, there's so much to engineering, there's so much, it's like this perspective which is created, it's just so different. And then, like, it's not the traditional fashion of engineering, like, everything is changing. So today you can sit home, no physical books required, sit home, watch videos, and like, a lot of motivation videos out there, motivational videos, a lot of people watching videos, and they're like, disgusted about themselves. They're like, we are so awful, we are so demotivated. I mean, come on. You're watching a video on YouTube, you're watching a video on social media. That makes you more happy than millions and millions of people out there in the world. And then people go like, how's that possible, dude? Let me explain how. See, when you're watching a video, that means you're watching the video. That means you're watching the beautiful photographs, the beautiful videography. Everything is so beautiful. That means, ladies and gentlemen, you can see. You are not blind. That's the first thing you should be grateful about. Then sometimes you hear this melodious music of the video. It's so awesome. That means, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear. You're not deaf. And then sometimes the English goes a bit wayward or the accent changes. You turn on to the captions. And then you're reading with the subtitles and the captions. That means, ladies and gentlemen, you can read and write. That means you are educated. You're not illiterate. That makes you more powerful than billions of people who are trying to get education but are unable to. And you have that. And then sometimes you like the video, you're like, whoa, this is awesome, man. Let's share it. This is awesome, dude. Awesome. That means you can speak. That means you can say words. And then sometimes you like the video much, so you give it a like. You give it a like. That means you have a thumb. Then sometimes you like the video more, so you're like commenting, oh, this is awesome video, I love the channel, everything. That means you have fingers. That means you have 2 hands. And then, if you like the video the most, you share it with your friends, or your family, your spouses, sibling, whatever, whomever. That means you have friends, you have relatives, you have people whom you can fall back to. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, makes you more happy and more grateful, more happy than millions and millions of people, if not billions. So today, ladies and gentlemen, you may be doing good, but I assure you tomorrow will be better. Today it's going good, it's just decent, but tomorrow will be a better day. Today you're doing just fine, I know that. Today you're doing just fine, but tomorrow, believe me, you will be doing as great as a red old wine. Thank you.